What's up, guys? Did not expect Monday to start out this way. Some kind of crazy news. Everybody's pretty much up to date on it by now, but the pass rush, a little struggling, a little bit. Might have gotten worse. Although maybe there's a silver lining. Maybe we could talk through this. I'm curious to know. Zadarius Smith has officially retired. Announced it on his Instagram. If you did not see it, I'll share it here with you on the screen so you officially can see the news. But at first, I saw it. Somebody tweeted or messaged me. Shout out Gary. Gary's like, hey, did Z just retire? And he was on his Instagram page. And, then you go read the post. I'm not going to read it in its full extent, but you're more than welcome to go check out Zadarius Smith's Instagram page. And then I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Did he actually legit just retire? And then, more confirmed reports and several different outlets. But officially, one of these you see here, breaking three-time Pro Bowler Zadarius Smith announced he is retiring from the NFL after 11 seasons. Dude just got here. Barely played. And in the limited amount of playing time that he had, leading sack getter for us. For the Eagles, 1.5 sacks. You realize the edge play. Zadarius Smith, the leader with 1.5. Second place, Patrick Johnson with 1. And then no other edge rusher with a sack. It's not great. Not really great. There's a whole lot of reasons and speculation, everything else that we can get into. But curious, your thoughts. Feel free to drop a like on the stream. Make sure to do that. Subscribe. But reasons? Any hypotheticals out there? Because we're waiting to hear official reports. You see down there from Diana Rossini, whether you choose to believe this or not, but she was told Zadarius Smith's decision to retire is a personal one. Nothing to do with the Eagles. Although that's the team that he plays for. Nothing to do with the Eagles at all. Christian, I appreciate that, man. I don't blame you. This video made you almost want to dislike it, but you're not because of me. I appreciate that. I don't blame you, It's I don't know what the comedy of errors at this point, the dysfunction, what does it say about a team? I've seen multiple comments and thoughts about what does it say about a team that is ring chase or a player that is ring chasing? What does it say about the team? You got a player that's ring chasing, had made that a publicly known, right? That he's wanting to go to a contender, and he's retiring this early in the season. Giants made the Eagles team as a whole quit on Thursday night, and I guess they got Zadarius Smith to quit after the beatdown. It's pretty rough. Maybe, John, like you said, maybe he lost his love of the grind. I'm hopeful that it does not speak to anything in the locker room. I'm hopeful, but I can't. I don't know. We're waiting to get some more details of what exactly went on behind the scenes. Thoughts and prayers to Z. If it's legit personal reasons and just, hey, he needed to step away. If it's just something family, I don't know. But the timing of it all and where the things have shaken out in the locker room, no, not the best vibes. Not go get Jason Pierre-Paul. Go get somebody, anybody. After this, you needed an edge rusher to begin with, but after this one, you certainly do. You need multiple. Cornerback's got to be the answer. I think Matt and John were texting about this. I can't remember who it was specifically, but maybe he saw the film of Kelee, Ringo, and Adoree Jackson and said, nope, this ain't it. It's also a pretty good one. Dylan with a 5. Appreciate that, Dylan. Let me get the super chat thing set up here accurately. I don't know why the size went different format on this one. Hold on. Here we go. That's a little better at least. Dylan with a 5. Appreciate that. Is it me or does this feel like locker room drama that he didn't want to deal with? And see, there we go. I didn't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to fully believe that yet. I'm hoping that the team can figure things out, get some guys back, a couple trades maybe. Howie's got to make a move, though. Especially after this. It's a foregone conclusion. It was like, I don't know. I was at like a 75% chance after the Giants game and saying, okay, yeah, Howie's got to make a move. There's just no excuse for the way the team played, the performance out there, the lack of ability they have at CB2. Yes, you got to get some things figured out at edge, but even if they say, well, we're getting kind of enough pressure somewhat, if we have better cornerback play, maybe that'll be the answer. Now it's both. And it's absolutely, you got to go get an edge. But I don't know. Is it more to do with the locker room or the vibes of the team? It'd be crazy to think that we're this early into the season and it's something to do with the locker room vibes. Yet we have seen that. I know. Shades of 2023. I just, it's rough, man. Not a whole lot of other ways to put it. Mike with another 5 says, this tells me he wanted to do a year with a Super Bowl contending team, but the locker room isn't what he thought it'd be. And see, there's another one. Can't fault it. I mean, Z's been around for a while. He's been on some teams that have had it a little bit rough. I don't know what the locker room was like necessarily, but he played on Cleveland for a bit. So, you know, you have the good, the bad, the ugly. The case to be made, and this is maybe a little bit of a glass too half full, quite honestly, but maybe, is he got word from Howie Roseman that we're trading for an edge rusher, or he just speculated, but I would think it'd have to be on the line of like, hey, we're trading for an edge. There's something going on here. We're going to trade for an edge, and he's going to miss out on his incentives, or most likely. Like if he looked at it and said, wow, okay, they're getting, name your player, right? Just whoever it is, just name a player. That's who we're getting. And it's a almost immediate from him, then, okay, well, I'm not going to get enough snaps. Beforehand, when Nolan Smith was out, he comes in, it's like, all right, I'm going to probably have a chance to play a good amount of snaps to get the sack totals or the incentive numbers that he needed and get his $9 million. Then if he gets word that they're going to trade somebody, okay, perhaps not as much of a motivation. Yes, wants to win a Super Bowl, but remember, Myles Garrett wanted to win a Super Bowl and play for a Super Bowl contender, demanded a trade, got paid a lot of money, and I don't know, the Super Bowl motivation seemed to go away. Yet it is funny, the comments that he's made recently in the pressers. I'm like, bro, you got paid. Like, I understand, but you're on a bad team. You knew you were on a bad team. Like, I don't know how that changes things necessarily. You got paid. I don't know if that was the case for Z here, but again, it's just another potential. It's another line of thinking that I don't know. We'll get more info, I'm sure, over the next couple days, and I hope and pray that this is a move that signifies how he did make a move. It's waiting to be announced, or will be making a move finalized here in the next day or two, because if you didn't need it before, like we say, absolutely, 100% need to get an edge. Andrew with the 2. This team is cooked. Time to tank this season. Whoa. This team is not cooked. They got to figure some things out for sure, but that is so knee-jerk reaction. I understand the emotions. Yeah, I'm still trying to get over the fact that we got blown out on national television Thursday night game against the Giants, but there's a whole lot of the season in front of them. I believe in the team. There's a way for them to turn around. It would be crazy. It would take a lot. Yes, you got to get your offensive play calling figured out. Now you got to get edge. Now you got a cornerback. But the Eagles still have firepower, right? They've got ammunition. They've got draft picks for next year. It feels a little extreme to just go, all right, this season's completely done. It's completely over. It's funny though. I mean, man, this everything in the comments, everybody. I've seen it both sides though, right? So see, you got some saying, dude, Andrew, we're cooked if our record ends up being like 4-10 or so. Yeah. But it's 4-2. And if anything, and I say this on the video dropping most likely later tonight, but like, if anything, yesterday taught me just getting, like a full Sunday, like, hey, you know what? Eagles aren't playing. Let's watch a lot of games. Let's see what we got around the rest of the league. It's unpredictable this season, like maybe more than any other one. I don't know that there's a single juggernaut team that I see out there and like, wow, they're unstoppable. They're just going to beat any team they line up against, and man, it's going to be really difficult. Or even like a top 2 or 3 teams that I go, okay, yeah, those are your top contenders. Yes, you could look at the Super Bowl odds and sure, maybe garner some of the top teams there and say it that way. But I'm just saying, you watch them play, And there's inconsistencies all across the board. So I'm like, it is still there for the taking. The Eagles have a whole lot of things they got to turn around. We know that. But to say we're cooked, I don't know. Feels a little extreme. But it could be totally correct. We may look back at the season and be like, yeah, there you go. That was it. We saw it. The writing was on the wall. Saw it week 1 with the play calling. For those of you calling that out, and it has been. So Bluegrass, we could be 6-0. We could be a lot of things. But season is still young of sorts, and the division is helping us out for the most part, right? So we still got an opportunity there. For what that's worth, I don't know. Brian with a 5 sounds like leadership is a big question in my eyes on directly, on the 2 guys who have fresh captain's patches. Okay. Yeah, I mean, be watching the captains, especially there, sure, but be watching the captains, either what they're saying. We'll get more in the press conferences too. I'm sure that they're going to have some sort of update or really anything with Zadarius Smith, but like something from the players. Usually get the locker room breakdowns on Wednesdays for sure. We might get one a little bit on Tuesday talking to players, but for sure Wednesday. So stand by, wait for that, because that's going to be interesting to get players' takes. Most of the time, I know they don't say anything, but you know, you'll get little like crumbs here and there. You can pick up on some stuff of like, oh, okay, hang on. Like there's either some body language there, there's a little bit of sharing too much, questions, just waiting to see on it. I think it's overblown to just go to the extreme yet of, and I see some of those other comments, I get it. Nick's lost the locker room. Seems a bit extreme this early to say that, but spinning and winning, you admire my positivity. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate that. I always try to be positive. You know that. I'm just trying to find the silver lining. And no, I'm not saying I'm 10 of 10, we're winning the Super Bowl, or that we're going to make a deep playoff run right now. I'm not. I also won't lie. I'll try to keep it real with you guys. If there is a lot of concern. There are a lot of leaders. We know that. And you know, in years past, we saw some guys that were selfish and sack chasing, hunting numbers. You had some other guys out to get theirs. They weren't playing team ball. I just would be surprised, you know, that is it something so much on the defensive side? Is it the team as a whole? Maybe there is with the AJ Brown and his comments, and you know, trying to get everybody on the same page. Maybe Z sees that, and it's just more of a holistic team perspective. It's not the defense necessarily, but overall, I mean, most of the guys seem to be bought in there. Or could it be a Vic Fangio thing? I don't know. It's maybe a small element, but some guys in the past have not appreciated or not just put up with his style of coaching. You know, hard coaching, one-on-one, give you feedback, but also going to let you hear it whenever you make mistakes. I don't know. Z recognizing that he just doesn't want to stick to the grind, but it's incredibly early. So it's not the best look. It is certainly not the best look. It is very concerning. I won't lie. I won't try to sugarcoat that. Yes, I'm hopeful, like I say, that it's a trade is already done. But either way, a trade does need to happen. Gonzalo with the 2. At least he did it before the deadline. Yes, thank you for that. That would be much worse if we're talking about after the deadline. So that's a positive way of looking at it. Give us a little extra time. There's almost no way now. I mean, you look at, and I'll talk about this too more in upcoming video, but you look at the guys that are potentially available, teams that are losing badly, right? I mean, the Eagles did on Thursday night, but they're still 4-2, so keep it in perspective. Teams that are 1-4, teams that are just really struggling, 1-5, like those are the teams that there's a definite possibility getting something done. And you don't even have to necessarily give up a first-round pick, maybe even a second-round pick. You could trade a third possibly, and there's some guys to go get. So whether it's your cornerback option, whether it's an edge, or both, I think you need to make both at this point. It's just more so. Jake with a 2. Yes, I think I answered this a second ago. This is the second time, though. Too early to say this season is over, and that is a question. Yes, 100%. It 100% is. In fact, I just want to poll people here and say, are the Eagles cooked this season? Are the Eagles are the Eagles already cooked this season? Yes or no? Start the poll, because I'm just interested to get a pulse check on what percentage we are. We got like 1,400 people here. Drop a like on the stream if you don't mind. Even if you're not positive about the Eagles, it does me a favor. It'll kick out the algorithm. We get more people in here, because I'm curious to get as many people and as much of a sample size as we can. Where is the optimism? Like, and it's fine, Steven, if you say 75% chance that they're cooked. Okay, I can get it that there's concern, that there's doubt, that there's some fear, anxiety, all that. That's perfectly fine. But I'm saying, as of right now, are the Eagles cooked? Because if you say, hey, 75% chance they're cooked, okay, but technically in my boat, that would be like, or in my book, that would say, no, they're not. Not yet. But again, I understand. If they go to the Minnesota Vikings and get beat again as badly as they did by the Giants, we don't probably need to wait any longer. Just go ahead and say it, because there's wholesale changes that need to happen. Because more importantly, honestly, than even like schematically, which does need to change, and you need to get personnel and everything else, if they get beat badly like that, especially the injuries that Minnesota's also dealing with, the players are giving up. We saw them not ready to play in New York. Shortened week, you can make excuses, whatever you want to, but like, didn't really look ready to play. This is your chance to bounce back. Like, you still believe in the coach, you still believe in the team, and I'm talking about the players, but you still believe in the coach, you still believe in the team. Show up Sunday, prove that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you have to show up and play with all you got, really. It could be nothing like we saw on Thursday. Maxwell agrees. A lot of people agree. Okay, so we're it looks like about 68% in terms of no. The Eagles are not already cooked. 32%, I mean, a third, though. A third believes that we're already cooked. And that's crazy. It's crazy. Could be absolutely correct. I'm just saying it. But, like, you just think about context-wise of where we're at in the season and how short it is. Like, a third of the way into the season and a third of people saying that we're cooked. Very interesting. Alex with a 5. If you can hear my daughter in the background, that's sounding like how a lot of us are after Zadarius Smith officially retired. We're crying. We're crying for Howie to trade for an edge rusher, trade for a cornerback, trade for maybe multiple moves. Again, if you're just joining and you haven't seen things, or you're busy at work, stuck on a Monday getting started, but the official news, Zadarius Smith has announced that he's retired from the NFL. As crazy as that is, Eagles leading sack guy, 1.5, and he's gone. So the Eagles edge rushers now tally of the current active roster, 1 sack, which is Patrick Johnson, too. I don't know what's worse. The fact that Z is leaving with 1.5 sacks, or the fact that your guy behind him leading in sacks is Patrick Johnson. No offense to PJ. Alex here with a 5. Sorry, I lost that one. Time for Howie to package some picks and young guys for an edge and cornerback. Yep. Been saying that for quite a bit on the stream. The next question is, who does he package and trade for? We talked about Denzel Ward, so that one feels like a good chance, a good possibility with the Browns and the way that they're at. But who does he trade for on an edge? Or are you saying like it's a package, picks and young guys for an edge and a cornerback from the same team? That it seems probably less likely. You're not going to go to, I would imagine anyway, one group. Although the Jets are certainly appearing to be sellers. Maybe the Dolphins. I don't know if you want necessarily anything for Miami and their corners, but who are you picking, I guess, and what are you giving up? Yeah, that seems to be the give. Maxwell, the Denzel Ward, and Jalen Phillips. Zack, has he said anything, and do we know why? Okay, let me just see if I can. Okay, I don't know if I can get this on the screen. It's going to look accurate or look full screen for you guys. I'll just go ahead and read it. I might as well. If I can. Yeah, I don't think this is going to help me out here. Let me see. Can I get this? You can see some of it. All right, I'll have the whole. 1 second, I'll have the whole whole Instagram post. It's on his Instagram. So if you want to go check that out too, you can go to it's Zadarius Smith all together. That's his username profile. But basically he said, I knew this day would come, but now that it's here, I'm feeling so many emotions I never expected. Who would have thought that a kid from Greenville, Alabama, with just 1 year high school football experience would go to playing for the NFL for 11 incredible years? This game has given me the opportunity to meet great coaches, compete alongside some of the best players. Just talking about how it's helped in football transform my life, families, and my family's lives forever. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Career's taken me across the world. Talks about seeing on the map, different areas, and ends it saying, to the fans, the biggest thank you of all, to every fan from each organization I represented. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything, from wearing my jerseys, collecting my cards, sending letters, sharing your opinions, good and tough ones alike, and most importantly, showing love. I felt it all. As I step into my newest season of my life, please know this game has meant the world to me. The lessons learned on and off the field will stay with me forever. Love, Z. And there you go. So, I mean, doesn't say anything specifically. Says, just a big thanks. And again, appreciate Z, at least for the short amount of time. It's upsetting that he didn't stick around, because I was hopeful if he was more of your rotational edge. Heck, he led leading with 1.5 sacks. If he was the guy to just come in sporadically, he made great plays in moments. He wasn't supposed to be the starting edge for the Eagles. That was like a cool, Jalen Hunt's going to get it going. He's gotten some pressures. He's going to get it going, getting some sacks. Nolan Smith, once he gets back, you got your 2 starters. Z in there now. We're feeling better. Just didn't have it, unfortunately. But yeah, you gotta make some trades now. It's music with a 5. Again, who's it going to be? The question, right? Jalen Phillips, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb. I've started to see that a lot more often. He's having a pretty good season, all things considered, for Miami, and he's familiar with Vic Fangio. That one would be exciting. I would love to see a Bradley Chubb. At this point, too, I mean, we would take anything, but yes, if we could get a Bradley Chubb. It's music with a 5. Need a new head coach. Wow. Okay, so we're making a move. Again, we just said this too. I'll read the rest of the super chat, I guess, before I say that. Need a new head coach. Nick is a morale guy, not an X's and O's guy, too dependent on his coordinators. When it goes bad, he has no answers, and the team spirals. Not a scheme, not an X's and O's. You are accurate about that. If they move on from... If they move on from any coaches, quite honestly, even OC, it kind of tells you that they're officially punting on the season. So to the poll question, which, wow, by the way, we've crept up now to almost 40% that the Eagles are already cooked. I mean, that's a little bit alarming, a little bit shocking that we're it's not too far off from a 50-50. Yeah. Well, I guess what I was going to say, if you move on from your head coach or your offense coordinator, that's basically like you're punting on your season. I mean, I don't know. And, feel free, chat, to correct me or let me know, fill in on this information. But I don't know when it's worked out when you say, hey, in the middle of the season, we're just going to go ahead and get rid of our head coach, get rid of our offensive coordinator, one or both, and good luck. And I say that when you let go of them and then hire someone from the outside, because that's the assumption, right? Or you just get rid of them and then get rid of your OC, stick with someone internally. But even then, it's like, man, I don't know that you're changing a whole lot, because even to your point, it's music, is if Sirianni's still here, if you just move on from the OC, I don't think there's a whole lot schematically that changes. Maybe some of the sequencing of the play calling, and that could be better, sure, but I don't know that's your overall answer. You really need Kevin Patullo to pick this thing up in a miraculous way that does not seem as much likely at all, was hopeful. And the guys get healthy, the offensive line be able to start dominating, so maybe it doesn't matter as much with some of the play calling. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. This is the blessing and the curse of Nick Sirianni. It's kind of been year in and year out. Unfortunately, this is what it is. I was hopeful beginning of the season that it was a little bit of a different story, because Patullo at least had been around the team longer. He had been the pass game coordinator. It was a different story of being around in the NFL in a bunch of different areas instead of Brian Johnson, who had most of the college experience. But yeah, so far it's been brutal. Agati with a 5. Bro, we need to put a retirement clause in free agent contracts. I'm sick of this third time because this says a lot about our culture. Shaking my head. Okay, but I mean, I hear you, but like, bro, what type of retirement clause? What type of retirement clause are you putting in a free agent like? Either what you say, like he's not. Maybe I'm misinterpreting. But are you saying like you put a clause in there that he can't retire? Because you say that. What are we doing? Like, if a guy is done playing, then you don't want him out there anyway. You put a clause out there and say, "Sorry, man, you gotta stick it out." Well, cool. Then he's not going to give a great effort. Like I don't know. Yes, it does. I agree with you that it says a whole lot about the culture. I hope that that's not correct. I hope that it's just like, well, as we said earlier, it's a financial thing, and he recognizes now he's not going to get his incentives because we're getting a bigger name pass rusher. But I mean, once somebody wants out, I'm of the mindset is like, get him out of here. Like I don't want that for the morale. I don't want it for the locker room. We said this about Bryce Huff. Dude was just along for the ride, got a free Super Bowl, but he was not going to be here. And you could see that on his face, the way that he celebrated or did not celebrate as much with the Super Bowl win, even pre-Super Bowl media interactions. It was like, dude, that guy, you see why he's inactive? You see why it's just taken forever to even have anything happen with him? Because, yeah, he's totally checked out. Does not want to be in Philly. And you could see that from very early on. Demetrius, we're on pace for 11-6. Maybe so. We'll see. That was Anthony DeBona's prediction early in the season. Not necessarily the way that is gone to get to 11-6, maybe, but he did say 11-6. So shout out to him for that. Hopefully he's wrong though. A few more wins, maybe. We'll see. 2 from Alex so far with Knicks. It's been good year, bad year, etc. Yeah. 1 from the next. I mean, ultimately though, if and this, I know it's a huge if, but if you win a Super Bowl and you make 2 appearances, like it's not bad. It's a matter of perspective, I know, and there's nothing wrong with holding guys to a standard of like, you're good. The roster is insanely talented. You should be here. So totally get that. But he's also made 2 Super Bowls, and yes, it's been with competent offensive coordinators. And yes, I'm with you. Watching so many teams yesterday, going like, man, why can't we do that? It would be phenomenal. If Shane Steichen, and there's a reason why he got a head coaching job, so know that he was not going to stick around, but man, if Shane Steichen was still here, could you imagine? This team, Steichen and Fangio, oh my gosh. Yeah, you could forget about it. But we're not there, and guys get poached, and they get head coaching jobs because they're good coaches. And sometimes it's X's and O's. Sometimes it's CEO head coaches. Dan Campbell's not a play caller, but he's still getting it done. And his coordinators, surprisingly, the Lions have looked solid, although they only scored 17 last night. But there were moments during the game, I think at the start mainly, but there's moments you watch the Lions play and you're like, how do they do what they do on off? Like, why can they do that? And it's so easy. But then, again, only thing that matters is winning. And they ended up only scoring 17. But by the end of the first quarter, if any of you watched, I'm sure you did, but if any of you watched the Sunday Night Football game last night, it's like, it looked like the Lions were going to score 40. And pretty easily. It's like they're getting whatever they wanted. But things change. Teams make adjustments. And the Chiefs were able to make, obviously, enough plays. The Chiefs are kind of maybe getting right at the right moment. They're getting Rashee Rice back as well. Xavier Worthy getting healthy. They still don't have a run game, but the defense looking pretty good. For those that are saying earlier, oh man, the Chiefs are not going to make a playoff team or make the playoffs, or the Chiefs are not a good win. Chiefs are not a good team. They were out several guys, so when the Eagles beat them, it's not like full strength, but still a good win. Gonzalo ain't beating the Bucks. Bucks are winning without anybody. So shout out Baker Mayfield. I'll just say this, like, I know he's not the favorite, the odds-on favorite, if you look at the MVP race right now for NFL players. But if the Bucks keep doing what they're doing, Baker Mayfield has to win MVP. It's ridiculous. He's down almost all of his offensive weapons, and he's still getting it done with a new offensive coordinator too. Like that, if that doesn't say anything, I don't know what does. Let's see. I missed one from Matt, I think. I don't think I've read Matt's. Matt, here we go. Here's the two. How do you feel about the Eagles going for Sauce? I guess I don't hate it. It depends on what all you're giving up. To me, I think Denzel Ward would be a cheaper option. I think it's not having to give up as much. But, I mean, yeah, I don't mind it. Wouldn't mind it. You got of his caliber and his talent. If Howie can figure out a way to make it work. But I also wonder if you go for like such a big blockbuster trade on one position or the other, whether it's cornerback or an edge rusher, do you hamstring yourself there to say, okay, now we can only go after like a mid-tier guy, whatever that necessarily means for that position? And what do the Eagles need? What do the Eagles need more? Do they need cornerback? Do they need edge? Especially with this news. How much does it change things? I know Nolan's coming back. Nolan's going to make a huge impact once he's fully healthy. So post-bye week will be much better. But you still kind of need another guy. I mean, at least. But yes, I mean, just in a vacuum, sure, I don't mind Sauce. Absolutely. Let's see what they want. Gonzalo with a 5. There's no team in the NFC that is running away with it all. Just look at Detroit yesterday. Sirianni just has to shave his head. Okay, there we go. That's what I was saying. Unpredictability. There's no juggernauts. Even people that were saying Detroit. I was like, I hear you. But Detroit's defense is susceptible, and now they've got injuries. So when they're healthier, maybe. But it's still an if. Like, if and when they seem to always be banged up. So no one's running away with it. Whatever we need to do. Do we need to bring back the rally stash? I was giving it some thought. I might have to bring the stash back. We'll see. That might need to be the next poll question. Antonio. Really, man? We know you love Nolan, but he isn't the answer. I'm telling you, bro, Nolan is one of your starters. He is the answer in that way. He will solidify one edge spot. I'm sorry, but he absolutely will. He proved everybody wrong last year, and unfortunately, people are getting onto him being like, oh, yeah, he didn't really do much this season. The triceps injury, I was surprised because he was saying he was thinking it was going to be right by the season and getting in the right way, still wearing the brace, but then he had to keep it on. And hearing what we heard and knowing some other things that I know, like, it was significantly impacting. So, yes, Nolan will 100% make a difference once he gets back after the bye week. But, we can agree to disagree if you're not believing in that. But he is one of your starters. You got to get the other one figured out. Zack with a 2. Has he said... Oh, yeah, that was the other Zadarius one. Shared that earlier. Nothing specifically. Okay, I'll change the poll here because we've gotten about as many responses. It's crazy though that it's like super close. Are the Eagles already cooked this season? Out of 1,300 votes, 57% are still optimistic that there's still hope. To whatever extent that is, who knows? But there's still hope. 43% are saying yes, the Eagles are already cooked. You may be right. We'll see. I mean, time will tell. But, man, that's a rough place to be after 6 games. What do the Eagles need more? What do they need more right now? Edge or cornerback? We'll start a new poll. So we got some good... Good answers there. Yeah, I know. Marcus stashes for win streaks. Yeah, but does it start the win streak? I'm not sure that my wife wants it, so we're going to have to see. AJ Jones, Zadarius may know a trade is coming, not like his role within the defense. I'm being optimistic. That's what I was saying earlier. That is the optimistic way of looking at it. The glass half full, silver lining, maybe. But I'm hopeful. Advocate with a 5 should have traded for Garrett. Maybe so. Or Micah Parsons. Or someone. It's not like Howie didn't try. There was a report that Howie was at least out there making calls and seeing about it happening to try to trade for a big-name edge rusher. So is this his, like, knee-jerk reaction now? And, okay, we got to go get someone that's going to be an earth shaker, like a big blockbuster name? I feel like it has to be. As like you've lost some guys. Fangio's been a little coy on his responses, like, hey, do you need some edge rushers? Well, I kind of like the pressures. They're there. They're getting close. We're not bringing them down. We don't have the SAG numbers yet, but it's okay. We seem to have the guys. But then he also kind of threw in at the last minute, if we need someone, I'm confident Howie will go and get somebody. Well, okay. So that was before, whenever Fangio made those statements, before you lost an edge for the season, and now you've lost another edge because he retired in Zadarius Smith. I don't know that Fangio is going to say that we have enough. Now, we can listen and hear his press conference, which will be tomorrow, so interested to hear what his takeaways, and if he's asked, hey, you have enough edge players? Or who knows, maybe we get a trade before then. That would be fantastic. We don't even have to ask him that. But is he still going to say the same thing? He's going to say, yeah, they're getting it done. I'm confident in him. Because if he does that, then I'll be like, all right, well, he's been clearly talked to by Sirianni and Howie and others at this point to say, you don't have to tell the full truth. We appreciate it, but you don't have to. You got to keep things under wraps. Give him the PC answer. But usually, when he's brutally honest, he'll tell you. And he'll be like, nope, we don't have enough guys. Because if he's brutally honest, he's going to say, Kelee Ringo did not play well enough, and we may see about Adoree in there, or we may see about some others for the cornerback spot. And same thing for the edge. Yep, losing Z, little surprising. Need to do what's best for him. With the way we're at right now, could probably use some pass rush help. Anything. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me one way or the other, but like I say, maybe just get a move before then. Spill milk with a 2. The sky has fallen. The Eagles are done this season. And there's one of the 43%. See, Arthur saying 57% is delusional. So I guess also one of the 43% saying that the Eagles are already cooked. It's sad. But I get it. I get it from what we've seen. I understand some emotions, and I understand some doubts and some fears, and it could very well be. I don't know. I'm hopeful that they turn the thing around, but you got to make a lot of moves. This is not like a I don't know. I know that there were some knee-jerk reactions, absolutely, and there was like, man, this is looking like last year. Kellen Moore's not the answer at OC. Like we saw those things, right? Last year was the same thing going into the bye week, but it didn't feel. I don't know, and we can debate this. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't feel as much personnel-wise, because going into the bye week, there were a lot more injuries of star players. Now, the Eagles have injuries this year. I'm not saying that. There's injuries. There's guys that are out, and there's certainly some stars. But it was like, what, the Buccaneers game, you're without A.J. Brown, you're without Devontae Smith, you're without Lane Johnson, who else am I missing? The defense had Reed Blankenship go out. I think he started, but he went out eventually. Jalen Carter, I don't think, could finish the game. There were just so many guys that were getting banged up and everything else. You're like, if they have their full complement of weapons, I would be curious to see what this team can play like. And then, they start to build, obviously, off the bye week. Browns game was not great. They won. Giants blew them out, and then the rest was history. They kind of just marched on until the Washington game. So, I don't know. It does feel like more of you need to help out the squad with personnel. Just not as deep as they were last year. Barry with a 20 bomb. Appreciate that, Barry. Thank you for that. I've been a Hurts fan from day one. However, there's something to be said about the way Jackson Dart gets excited and pumps up his teammates with his energy. Jalen looks like he's bored. Yeah, I mean, they're very different, I guess, in the way they do it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think that comment, not that you're wrong there, but I think that comment is like just more of it speaks volumes to where the Eagles are at this season. Because if the Eagles were winning games and they were blowing teams out, and if Jalen was still, bored, as you say, which sure, it looks like he's, a little bit more reserved and doesn't show as much emotion, whatever we want to call it. But like, if that was happening, no one would point this out. I don't think. Could be wrong. Maybe you'd still be pointing this out. I don't think that people would be pointing it out. But yeah, this is where the Eagles are at. It's analyze everything. It's criticize, or I'm not saying you're criticizing necessarily, but just just pointing things out to say, is this Is this another facet of the team? Does this speak to where the team's at psychologically? Does this speak to the locker room vibes? Is this the belief the team's not having fun? There's a lack of belief in the coaching or the play calling or whatever. Maybe, yeah. Losing sucks. Not even. Sometimes they've won some of them, sure, but like winning and playing poorly sucks. Like they want to go out there and blow them out. Yes, absolutely. Like, yeah, it was more fun. Saquon jumping backwards over a player, beating the most teams by 20 points, running and being unstoppable anytime you called a run play, usually regardless of what it was. Yeah, some better play calls, but usually it didn't matter. Stack the box, fine. We'll break out a run for 70 yards. Cool. Do it again. It's not the same season, and yeah, it's not as fun. I don't know. Jalen Hurts is he's a winner though. He's still a winner, but you don't see really any of the guys, near as many of the guys that are having that emotion and having as much fun. And it's at times it looks like they're playing tight. At times it looks like they're playing frustrated. At times it looks like they're playing disheartened, lacking physicality. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to describe it. But spill milk with the two. To those turning on Hurts, all of you are fake. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the full-blown arguments that people have gone back and forth on those sides, but Jalen is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a Super Bowl MVP, played the best. He was the best player in both Super Bowls that he's played in. He is not he has his flaws. He's not a perfect quarterback. He's not number one in QB rankings, right? He has his issues. But so do other quarterbacks. But he has more than enough to be a weapon if he's used correctly. And this, again, goes back to the comment that we were saying earlier. But, look, if you had a Shane Steichen, he's turned Daniel Jones into what Daniel Jones is playing like. So, yeah, if you have Jalen Hurts and you have the weapons that you do, you can make them play and get them to play at a much higher level. But Jalen Hurts is not the issue. Yeah, for those that are turning on Jalen Hurts, there's a whole lot of other things that you should be criticizing or wondering about or anything like that before saying, oh, I'm ready to move on from my star quarterback. Or I even saw the hypotheticals of, hey, let's Tanner McKee, man. I'm just telling you, I think this offense would be humming if we had Tanner in there instead of Jalen. Who knows? Who knows? What we're basing that off of a preseason game this past year or playing a late game last season against the Giants squad that didn't have anything to play for really. It's a super small sample size, so it gets a little crazy to me. 5 from Swiss Garage Man. What's up? Kellen never been with any of these guys before and figured it out after 5 weeks. KP been with the guys for years and he hasn't figured it out. No excuse. You're right. I mean, he's had a whole lot more time. He hasn't called plays before. I thought he could. I really, really did for a long time. I'm not shying away from that. I've made lots of videos, so I know. And I'll admit that I was wrong. But I really thought that he could pick it up. And I was really confident because Jahan Dotson came on the show. We had him on the interview. I asked him same thing for KP, and he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, this offense is going to be great. We have a lot of faith in KP. Believe that he can keep this thing rolling, basically. He's just kind of picking it up where it left off, keep this thing on the tracks. A.J. Brown probably spoke the highest of Kevin Patullo over the offseason, more than anybody else, and we just haven't seen it. I do think that Kevin Patullo is good in terms of, he was a pass game coordinator for forever. I do think that he's good in terms of coming up with a game plan of sorts, but the sequencing of play calls, knowing when to use those, and then variations off that, yeah, I think you're seeing absolutely who that was last year versus where it's not this year. So I think that, yeah, he helped Kellen more, but you're right. Kellen had been a play caller, had more experience, knew what to use. It's the same look with a different play, and we can't seem to hit on that. We can't seem to run any of those. And then, yeah, you add on top of it the execution for players is not as good. So it's been an issue. All right, running through these super chats, then I'm going to wrap up here. But I have a lot of them. I have a ton of them, so we're not getting off by any means anytime soon. But I'm just running through these super chats. For those that are joining late, again, I'll just mention this again because people were asking or curious for the stream or the title in itself. Let's see. There's if I can get this thing up, is Zadarius Smith. There we go. Zadarius Smith has officially retired from the Eagles. Kind of a shock. Announced the retirement on Instagram today after 11 seasons. No longer with the Eagles. Moving on. Didn't share anything really specific. Diana Rossini's report there that others are somewhat corroborating. Can't say that. That it's a personal one. Nothing to do with the Eagles. I don't know. Kind of doubt that, but that's what some people maybe want to believe, so we'll see. Dylan with the 5. At this point, drag Brandon Graham back. LOL, I'm scared for what Jefferson and Addison will do to Ringo and Adoree. Howie needs to do... Good gosh, yeah. Maybe the blessing in disguise or the hope is that Carson Wentz is playing at quarterback. Maybe. We'll see if J.J. McCarthy's good to go, but yeah, in terms of receiver versus cornerback, there's a huge mismatch there. So, I don't know. And even if you bring him in, it's going to be so short prep for the week. I mean, they'll be better. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you there. But yeah, whoever you bring in will be better at cornerback. I just don't know. There's so many issues with that cornerback play. I don't think either one's the answer. And now you got to play both because of Quinyon Mitchell and his hamstring injury. So we'll see later in the week. Probably Wednesday will be a better update for Quinyon and how long the hamstring injury was going to keep him out. But, you know, with the bye week, the way hamstring injuries are, it would not be shocking if they said, you know, hey, Q's going to miss Minnesota's game. He's going to miss the Giants game. And then we have the bye week and then we have Green Bay. Like, it would not be shocking at all if they said, yeah, we're going to wait. Like, Q will be back for Green Bay. Can you make it 2 games? You should. You should have been able to against the Vikings and the Giants. If only Zay was here, but that's another story entirely. The cynical with 2, only fake Fairweather fans think we're cooked. Okay, well, there's another comment on the other side. We hear it on both. Amazingly, almost 50% were saying that we're already cooked. So I'm still giving them hope, even a 4-2. It's the NFL. It would be insane. It would be nuts, yes, if they turned it around and had a whole lot of differences with the offense, but I don't want to say that we're just totally done at 4-2. Brandon with a 5. What if Z was going to be traded so he decided to retire? This team isn't cooked at all. Everyone relax. It's a long season. See, there's the silver lining. There's my thought. There's my hope that, yes, if Z was going to be traded, he didn't want to be traded, and maybe he was just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be a trade package thing. I'm retiring. That, or he knew that another guy's coming in, and he wasn't maybe a part of the trade package, but just another guy's coming in, so he saw the writing on the wall. He wasn't going to get his snaps, like we talked about. Zack with a 5. Appreciate that. Everyone's talking about edge and cornerback, but we honestly kind of need a new addition to the offensive line. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate an acquisition to the offensive line necessarily, but personally, you got to go edge or cornerback first before all that. I mean, it's the same makeup besides Tyler Steen, and he hasn't even graded out as the worst guy on the offensive line. So to me, I'm like, it's injuries. It's maybe a lack of communication. It's a little bit of Jalen Hurts holding onto the ball too long. It's play calling. It's a lot of things all in one there with the O-line play. But like, I guess that's where I go to is like, if they could do it last year, they have the capability to do it this year if you get other things figured out. So I think personnel-wise, the O-line, like I say, I wouldn't be opposed to adding somebody else, but I don't know that I'm going out there and saying, like, let's get a starter to come back in here. Landon being out is probably a good thing. We talked about this last week, but get him healthy, get him 100% or as close to it as possible before he comes back, and it should pay dividends because, man, that dude was playing. Love Landon. Big fan of Landon Dickerson, but, like, he was playing he was playing worse than backup. He was, 78th out of 90 guards? Like, it's awful. Ricardo with a 10. Here we go. We're not cooked. It's best to go through this at this point in the season. Let's not panic. The league is wide open. Anybody can win it, and we have the weapons to do it again. We do have the weapons. If they get that answers, like we said, coaching, play calling, there's a chance. And I will agree with you there as far as the timing of this. If this was in week 12 or 13, I'd be saying, like, like we talked about in 2023. Okay, team's got a blueprint. They can figure things out. The hope is that you can course correct. It's 4-2 here. if hopefully we could win the next 2 games because it's the Vikings and the Giants, and then go into the bye week. I think if we were to poll here, another poll, if we did, do the Eagles go 2-0 before the bye week? I feel like it'd be a very close split, 50%, maybe less. I don't know that we lose one of those to the Vikings or the Giants. So, if that's the case, yeah, you're kind of scrambling. And then you have the Packers and you have the Lions, and those are going to be difficult games. And you have tough ones beyond that as well. But if they have to go through some difficulties, change some stuff, use the bye week, maybe so. I'm not giving up on them. There is a possibility, but yes, there is definitely concern. Kwaku with a 5. Howie screwed up in the offseason, letting a lot of veterans walk. That is for sure. Talked about that in the last video. It was rough. Some of the moves that he made or that he didn't make. S-Box with a 10. I think 23 gave a lot of Philly fans PTSD. There's parallels, I won't lie, but I'd argue we were in much worse shape then than we are now. Better running back, DC, corners, etc. Keep your chins up. That is true. It's better. You have the right answers on the defense. At least the coordinator, like you say, you have the right defensive coordinator. 2023, we didn't have the right offensive system. It was better early on, and then teams figured out, and then it was awful to end the season. But defense just got worse the longer the season went on. So at least you have that, and you are right. The better running back. Wide receivers are still there. O-line should be as good as it was then. They just got to get healthier. Corners, if they're healthy, yes, it's still better than what we had. Even as bad as it is with the one, we at least have Q for lockdown and Coop for a nickel. We didn't have the nickel in 23. So edge play, some pass rush, we need that. I don't know. Got to make moves. Eric with a 5. Boring. I think Brang is what I meant. Brang BG back. We asked him that the other day in the interview. He misses it, but it sounds like he's good. I don't think he's coming back. It'd be cool to see BG if he was 100% too. Could give it a go. Not your starter, obviously, but rotational. Bring BG, get the vibes in the locker room too. That'd be nice. Dylan with a 5 signed CJ to a 1-day contract just for him to yell at Patullo and Nick Sirianni and Howie then release him. Oh, he's in Baltimore having to deal with everything there, man. He's bounced around so many times. That's crazy. Winning the Super Bowl and all that happened on that, but I'm sure he'd have enough emotion to yell at him. Marquise with a 2. Edge should be priority. Pass rush has been buns. That's a way to describe it. Interesting here. So I'm going to end the poll on the cornerback and edge, but we had a lot of votes on that. 1,000 votes. And 61% saying we need a cornerback more than we need an edge. I still probably agree with a cornerback. I think secondary fixes a lot of the pass rush, but they are together. So Alex with a 2. Sauce has 5 years left on his deal, not happening. That was the difference, too, for Denzel Ward and what you have to give up. So Ben with a 5. There's only one team in the NFC that has a better record than us, and we beat them. If 2018 taught me anything, it's that at 6-7, we're never out of it. That is true. I mean, 2018 was rough. And yes, at 6-7. I mean, there were multiple times that year that I was like, hey, at least we won the Super Bowl. Like that's literally, and we may be saying the same thing. I'm sure that you've had like a couple instances already, I would think. At least out of the 43% saying that we're already cooked. Yeah, I'm sure there's at least been some instances to go, hey, well, at least we won the Super Bowl last year. At least we got a Super Bowl. This year may not be great, but at least we got a Super Bowl. So yes, there is an instance of that. We're not even close to 6-7 yet. If they play like they did on Thursday, then yes, we will. I've said that before too. They play like they did on Thursday, they won't win a game the rest of the year. It's the NFL. You're going to get abused, and it's just going to be over. So, but yeah, they're not technically out of it. They have firepower. They have more firepower than that season. I mean, offensively, they just got to course correct. They got to get things figured out, get healthier, maybe get hot at the right time, I suppose. But it's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of maybes. too, so I can understand it from both sides. Jacory with a 2, pass rush important, can make the cornerback look better, and that is also true. I don't knock it. Still slightly maybe more on the corner, like I said, but just make a move. If we don't make a move, then I'll be really irritated. That'll be like, okay, so are we just giving up on the season a little bit, or is it just like we're going to ignore this and act like we don't have issues? I don't know. RSME with the 5, I don't think they're quite cooked yet, but I feel like they're reaching a boiling point and a point of no return if things don't change soon. That's a good way to put it. It is time to make a move. Chad with the 2, Howie needs to get on the phone and make some moves. That he does. There's speculation, according to Ian Rappaport and I think it was Mike Garafolo, that Howie has been looking and would be potentially making a trade. So talk about that more in the video that I'll drop most likely this evening. So stay tuned for that. But yes, possibilities in the works. RG with the 2. Didn't see a comment. Appreciate the support though. 5 from Jim. I'm so sick of all of it. Kevin Patullo is a joke, and they need to get rid of him fast. He's not appeared to be the answer. But again, Jim, we've kind of said this, like, who's the answer? Who's the in-season answer? You get rid of him. Not saying you're wrong, but then who is it? Is it internal? You go Scott Loeffler? Do we believe in that? Does it change things with the scheme? Because Sirianni's still the head coach, and you'd imagine this season would at least still be a Sirianni flavor of the offense. Or do you say it's a Parks Frazier? Or you could hire outside, but I just don't think that you're bringing in somebody outside in the middle of the season, and then you expect Jalen and the offense and everybody to change things, drastically enough. Maybe by the end of the season they start picking things up, but it's just I don't know. It's a mess to begin with, whichever direction it is, but it does feel like a mess. 2, sign Max Crosby. I guess you have to trade for him, but bring James Bradbury. Bring back James Bradbury, cut Ringo. Man, we're in a desperate way if we're asking for JB back. All love to JB. I guess we could just trade for an offensive coordinator. I saw that from Sean. Yeah. Anthony with the 2, hearing Garrett wants out of Cleveland again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. He got his contract, so look, this is what I said a second ago, too, about Myles Garrett. Like, you can't necessarily have he wants to have his cake and eat it, too. It's like, bro, you complained. You used the leverage to say, I'm out, I'm tired of it. Cleveland, I tried to be here, but I want to compete for championships and blah, blah, blah. He used that to get paid, to become one of the highest paid pass rushers, one of the highest paid guys, right? So then he got his money. Now, there's no reason to have to get paid because he's paid. He's locked in. So sure, now he can go out there and be like, this is frustrating, blah, blah, blah. And if a team wanted to trade for him, absolutely he would take it because he's guaranteed he's going to get the money. He's going to get traded somewhere else and he would still get paid. He's got his contract. But it makes it a whole lot more difficult because teams are looking at it and saying like, well, yeah, I don't know. Do we want to take on that? Perhaps Cleveland says that they pay some of it, but I can't imagine either on their side that they're going like, no, bro, we just paid you. You locked in. You agreed to this. You know what you signed up for. I think the millions that he goes home to can, I don't know, make it a little bit easier for him to deal with. Frankie with the 2, games are won on the front lines. We need an edge. It is fair. Run defense as well. I mean, you get somebody who's good on both. That does change things. So I see your point. RG with the 2, do you feel like Bennett can fill in at CB2 when healthy? Maybe. He was at least the most challenging of the cornerbacks. He also got a lot of penalties that way, so it's hard to say. It was such a small sample size. I want to say yes, so maybe they go make a trade, and Howie's just fingers crossed, hoping, saying, well, Adoree' in spot starts until Jacorian gets back, and then we'll see. There's a possibility, maybe Vic Fangio even talks him into it, saying, like, no, we'll be fine. Like, we can make things work with Jacorian and with Adoree'. If we get a big name edge rusher, if we get a guy who can be a significant impact, I don't know. I'm hopeful, but it does feel like you got to make a trade for a big name at one or both. Lee with the 5, what's worse, the fact that Ringo is still employed or the fact that Kevin Patullo is still employed? I don't know, man. Ringo's been pretty good in the past at special teams at least. So I don't know if that's what's keeping him around. They continue to go back to it. He played 2 decent games before the Giants and just got absolutely worked. So I don't know. And 4-2 was not enough to say, or 4-1. I don't know. We'll see this week, I guess. But 4-1 was not enough for Kevin Patullo, even as bad as the metrics were saying, for him to get fired. So I honestly don't know the answer to that one. 5 from Aisha. Nolan will cover the edge, so we need a cornerback more between Adoree Jackson and Ringo. Not sure who's worse. A lot of work to do. That it is. Go Birds, though. Go Birds. Maybe they can get it figured out. Andrew with a 2. We're saved. Eagles signed Tariq Castro Fields. Woo! Yeah, great. There's your answer. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, well, we're saved now. Okay, good. Lee with a 2, it's bad when Shady can't even defend us. That's also another case in point. You start seeing some of the people, the few maybe, that would defend in any instance, which is also why I started out the last game recap video, kind of the similar sense. I'm like, look, I got to call it what it is at this point. There's no other way to say it, no other way to excuse it. It's been bad. Crazy Jaku with the Howie season failed, but this team still has a chance. There we go. There's still any sort of possibility. Mike with 2 thoughts on Peterson coming in as a consultant. I don't think so. Just the past experience, the history, the guy who replaced you, now you're going to come in and be a consultant for him. I don't see the sides agreeing to it. I know that Doug said if they asked, he would be up for it, but the way that it ended too was basically Howie and Lurie giving an ultimatum to Doug Peterson to let go of Press Taylor. They kind of make the decisions, and he said no and moved on. It'd just be, I'm not saying that they haven't made amends, that they have a better relationship and everything, but it'd just be a very strange scenario altogether. I feel like if they hired somebody, it would be outside thought, not near as familiar with the building, bringing in some new thoughts maybe too, but it would be surprising. I know the interview that you're talking about though, and Doug Peterson being open to it, but I don't think I could see it. Casual Sheep with a 5. Jalen has limits. Shane coached around them. Nick coaches within those limits. They need to move the pocket around, but Nick wants a pocket guy. Yeah, they're not maximizing Jalen's ability, like we were saying a second ago. Eric with the 5. Another one here. Eagles signed cornerback Tariq Castro Fields to the practice squad. Release cornerback Eli Ricks. There's your move. That's it. We're good. Don't need to do anything else. You got your cornerback guy. Yeah, there's got to be a lot more. 5 with Emmett. There has never been a winning Super Bowl team that had a wide receiver and quarterback despise each other like AJ and Jalen do. Last season's, it wasn't this bad between them. Has there never been a Super Bowl winning team with a wide receiver and quarterback that despise each other? I don't know. I'm trying to think of, maybe. Who knows? Their relationship's not near what it was when he first got here. That's for sure. Anybody with 2 eyes can see that. It's obvious. But they still can make it work. I do believe that they're competitive enough to make this thing work, figure things out. Saquon trying to make amends to play mediator between them, it sounds like. But Lee with a 2, it could be worse. Our quarterback isn't Tua snitching. Oh, yeah. That press conference was weird. If you didn't see it, I'm including it in my video later today, but also just, you can go search the Tua press conference for the Miami game, but kind of calling out the leaders, and I don't know if that was calling out leaders on the team or if it was Mike McDaniel or it was a combination of both, but it was very strange. Miami is in a bad way. Very bad way. And no wonder that, players getting linked to other teams after that. Anthony with a 5. Damn Hurts had 1 interception and missed some throws, and y'all fickle mind are bailing. No wonder Zadarius is retiring. Why play for this fan base? Oh, it's it's a lot of up and down. Lots of emotions, but the players that have been here for a long time, they appreciate it. They understanding, but it is a lot. It's easy to live in the emotional state, the knee-jerk reactions, and at the same time demanding more from them. You still see the ability that they have on the roster. Reclaim Fit with 5. Philly has been playing not to lose. The only time they played to win was the second half of the Rams game. Yeah, that's not inaccurate either. I mean, you could say, well, I guess I would offensively, I think that they played to win in the first half against Dallas, because remember, they scored every possession. That looked aggressive to me. The defense, I don't know what the defense was doing for the first half. They turned things around and got better in the second half. But the first half offense showed up. Second half of the Rams game, the offense showed up, and first half of the Bucs game. So it's more than just one half. But I mean, yes, I get what you're saying. There's only been spurts. There's been bits and moments where you're seeing the offense and you're like, wow, hey, that was kind of aggressive. That was some good play calling. That was some good sequencing. That was some taking some shots. Because it did work. I mean, again, they scored well in each of those halves, and then it was just nothing. So it's a combination of a lot. John with a 2, thanks for the time spent here. Z, you will be missed. We still do appreciate it. 1.5 sacks, made some difference, especially the Kansas City game. I think more than I anticipated. I think more than a lot of people anticipated for how quickly he was able to help make an impact. It was limited, but all things considered, wish him well. Hopefully it was nothing to do with the locker room vibes and the chemistry and everything there, but we'll just say this. If it is locker room issues, then it'll be shared very quickly. Again, people just joining on the stream, kind of off and on, but Zadarius Smith officially retired earlier today. Announced on Instagram, he is done. Did not share exact reasons why, just basically in more or less words, it's time. So not the greatest look for the Eagles locker room, but we are hopeful that it means there's a trade coming, or that, Diana Rossini said it was due to personal reasons. I'm not necessarily sure, but it is. There's no way to deny it. It's not a great look for where things are at. Lee with a 2. We need JC and Q back for the Giants. Got to get, we got to get the wins back. D-Cruz the 5, trade Jalen to the Jets for Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Start Tanner and fire Patullo into the sun. Wow, that's not an overreaction. Trade Jalen to the Jets for Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Trade Hurts. Just get rid of him. Get Sauce and Quinnen. Start Tanner. Yeah, I don't see that one happening. That's a little bit much if we're trading away QB1 in those scenarios. Anthony with a 5, move Coop outside opposite Q, slide in McWilliams in the slot, go get another edge is the move because pressure is paramount. Yeah, but is McWilliams the answer, right? I mean, sure, we like the rookie, but we haven't seen him out there much. And does Fangio, does Fangio see anything in it? He hasn't played him so far, so I don't know. Dan, what's up? Appreciate the 5. Howie needs to make a push to get Clowney and Danielle Hunter. Well, I think Clowney's already signed, right? Pretty sure that he was in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, or did he also leave now? Did he pull a Z? I think he's in Dallas. The last that I heard. Danielle Hunter, I would be we'd be a fan of, but any sort of edge rusher. Somebody, I don't know that they're in the mood for trading him yet. I would imagine, but yes, somebody, anybody. Dave with a 10. Hey Josh, who do you miss the most from last season? What do you think is keeping Howie from pulling some of these free agents? I assume you mean like signing some of them back. What's keeping him from it? Well, who do I miss the most from last season? It would be Isaiah Rodgers. We're talking about free agents, so because you'd have your answer if Zay was here. We'd be like, cool, we're good. Yes, it hurts to have Q out, so you'd still have to have a makeshift answer at that point. But you look around the league, some teams are dealing with injuries, and you just have to make do. You figure things out. So if it's a temporary, not losing a guy for a season, and it's losing for 2, 3, 4 weeks, okay, buckle up, get ready, next man up. Hopefully you can, win some games, hold serve, do enough without the top guys. But if Zay was here, yeah, you'd have your answer for both starters, all 3 starters. Zay, Q, Coop. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. I don't know. I included it in the last video that I did, the game recap, but the Eagles did offer Zay. It's not like there was no offer on the table. They did offer Isaiah Rodgers, and it was, from the sounds of things, it was very close to what Zay got offered from Minnesota. I don't know if it was exact. I don't know how close, but it does sound like it was very close. And obviously not a lot of money, as you hear the dogs barking in the background. Upset at that mistake. But it's not like it was very different there. And so, the answer at least that Zay gave was the fact that he was, I don't know if it was like attention that he was given. And it's, you can go watch the clip, watch the deal from the video if you want to, but like it sounds like, and I'm just totally speculating here. So, Zay's been on the show, I know that, but I didn't get anything from him. But speculation that I get the idea that Howie was essentially telling him, like, hey, Kelee's going to be our guy. We're going to give you, you'll have a chance kind of, but we really want Kelee to be the starter. We would love for you to return. Here's the offer. But more than likely, if things work out with Kelee, then you would just be our backup, our rotational guy. And if that was the case, then I don't blame him. Like, yeah, go, get paid the same amount and go somewhere else. But yeah, he did still offer for what it's worth, but I think he made the decision, and maybe too stubborn at times, Howie really likes his guys that he drafts. He's hit on a lot of them, but then the ones that he doesn't, it may be just sticking to it too much. Owen with a 5. We all wrote off we all wrote off when the defense was beating. We all wrote off when the defense was beating the offenses. I don't exactly know what that one is. I don't know. Wrote off something when the defense was beating the offenses. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not quite following there, but maybe wrote off the fact that there was issues on the defense. I don't know. Dan with a 2, Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips from Miami. Yes, that seems incredibly likely. Miami's surely going to be selling already or very soon if they aren't already. Justin with a 2. Could we give up Dillon and Dotson for a need? I don't think so. Maybe Jihaad Dotson if a team is crazy desperate. But I would also, like, what have we shown? What is Dotson shown? But what has the Eagles shown in usage of Jihaad that a team goes out there and like, yeah, you know what? We'll trade you like enough to get something back. I think at that point you're just trading for rotational guys that you might as well just sign a free agent again or rotation off the practice squad. If you want to make a move, it's got to be for something big, and most likely at this point it's just draft capital. Like, you have a lot from next year. Go ahead and use them. Howie said in the past that he's not afraid to do that, so go ahead, use him, get a guy. Justin with a 5, who would you like to trade for personally? Snead at corner could be interesting. That's true. Yeah, Legarius over Tennessee, or Phillips at edge. I like both of those. Bradley Chubb, if we could go bigger, but it's going to spend more compensation-wise for Miami. But yeah, if you go edge, I would probably say that more so. Jalen Phillips feels more likely, but in terms of, like I say, production and what they could bring to the table, Bradley Chubb would be pretty good. I don't mind either of those names. I like that. Dan with 5 more. Appreciate that, man. I don't think Z wanted to be the number one guy, and injuries played a factor in that. I think he just wanted limited snaps and hoping for a ring. Possibly so. I guess that's another way to look at it. Mine was the reverse. Like I was saying earlier, you may not have been on, but mine was the reverse. I think that it was he wanted to have enough snaps to get his incentives, because the incentives up to $9 million. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was he signed for $4 million, but incentives could be up to $9 million. So, if it was like sack numbers and playing time percentage and whatever else, then, he might have looked at that going like, hey, I could definitely get that. That is very possible. And then if he gets word that either the Eagles wanted to trade him and or like we were talking about, there's already a trade coming in, then, maybe he said, forget it. Like, and I don't know. Like, to us, $4 million is still a ton, but to him, he's made all the money that he needs probably. So is that where he weighs it and goes, yeah, to put up with all this for $9 million versus $4 million? Okay, but if it's just 4, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want to put my body through all this. I don't know. It's all speculation, but it doesn't look great for locker room vibes either. And if that's another big element to it, he might have just been like, yeah, this is not the answer. So Timothy with a 2, trade for Max Crosby. Give up a ton for Max. But, man, if we got Max, let's go. Max and Nolan are boys. So, you could use that, I guess, in terms of speculation. They got the relationship. Get him over here. Cheese with the 2, missed the first half, bro, but going to run it back. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, just rewind. This one went a lot longer than I anticipated, but just getting to everybody's comments and all the updates for Z retiring. So, kind of crazy. And Rod with a 2. Second, third, and Ringo or Adoree to bring Zay back. Man, how cool would that be, too? Just like in the middle of the season, hey, actually, we want you. We're trading you. And the Vikings somehow are okay with that? Yeah, I don't think that they're going to trade for it, but it would be cool. Johnny with 5. Thanks, man. Pray Miami loses big to the Browns this week and fire McDaniel, hire him as OC. The lack of effort by Ringo and Adoree, I'd rather the Waterboy play. Yeah, they have been pretty bad, pretty abysmal. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what this... Yeah, and Trey Hendrickson is hurt. I know people saying, I think the Bengals could be trading. He hurt his back, apparently. We'll see. So that also comes into play. You got to keep an eye out for which players are healthy, which ones are injured. If there's a strange, interesting, like inactive part, or an injury that pops up out of nowhere. Like this one was during the game of the Bengals yesterday, so I don't think that's the case on that side. But in practice, if there's, no signs of, so-and-so, and there hadn't been any injuries, then interesting. Just keep an eye out. So, yes, seeing some more. Again, last here before I wrap, and we'll have more details and info on the show coming out either later tonight or tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. But Zadarius Smith, it is sad, has officially retired from the NFL after 11 seasons, and the Eagles are down another pass rusher, meaning that for the season, through 6 games, the Eagles have 1 sack, guys on the active roster, 1 sack from their edge rushers. Not great. Bad went to worse. So, but still have hope. It's not over. There's still a chance. Have some faith. Got all that. Keep you updated, on what's going on. So stay tuned. Injury updates, all the other stuff, videos regular this week, and all the other live streams. So appreciate you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Almost to 143,000 subscribers. Couldn't do it without you guys. More giveaways and everything in the future. We'll see what Howie does. A move has to be coming. Till next time. Go Birds.